What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for some more transfer news to get your teeth bitten into today, and quite a bit of news coming out in the last 24 hours regarding all the important players that we want to get through the door.
Isaac? Any chance?
Well, you never know. You never know.
You have to wait for the update, I guess.
Exactly. He's been left out the Newcastle tour.
Can we get some?
Could it be? Could it be?
Got some Swedish agents on the case.
We got enough Swedish agents, so you never know.
Exactly. You never know.
Didn't work their magic on Gyökeres though.
Yeah. Look, I've heard. All I know is I've heard Tottenham want some more forward players, and Isaac's asked to leave. Is there a link there? Is there a link there? Who knows?
Well, I guess you're going to have to wait and find out on what is on this update. But first thing we have to talk about today is a confirmed deal, as Ashley Phillips has rejoined Championship side Stoke on loan for 25-26. I guess that all it was one 45-minute spell for Vuskovic, and that was it.
I think so. Yeah, I think Frank took one look at Vuskovic, said, "Yeah, Phillips, you're done here. You're done. You gotta go. You gotta get out of here." Obviously, it was quite telling that Vuskovic played in the friendly and Phillips didn't get a single minute. I was thinking once the double friendly was announced on Saturday, it would be a good opportunity for Phillips to get some minutes, but obviously that's not going to happen now. He's on loan at Stoke. I think it's good for him to get another year in the Championship, more development. I do wonder now if Tottenham are leaning towards getting him another good loan spell in the view of maybe selling him next season.
I think so.
Which is a bit of a shame, because he's obviously a very talented young centre-back. Maybe if we can do it with a buyback clause for the future. But it's a shame, because obviously he hasn't got a chance at Tottenham at all to show what he's about, and he's very, very young. And by all accounts, he's done very well on his loan spell. So there's no reason to believe this guy can't be a good centre-back for us one day. But at the end of the day, we're just completely stacked in that position with young players in that position. We've just signed Kota Takai as well, another up-and-coming centre-back. So I just don't see where Phillips is going to fit in. So I think I hope we have him, but there's a good chance we might have seen the last of him at Tottenham.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, we haven't seen anything from him since last pre-season, so it's been like over a year, or just about a year, since we've last seen him in a Spurs shirt. Always seems to impress in the pre-seasons at Spurs. Always has rave reviews in all the loan spells that he's had. So I think if he builds on what he did at Stoke last season, you'd probably get a decent fee for him next year.
Yeah, but I think I think what the club will probably be looking at is a good loan spell, maybe a 10 million deal, something like that.
I hope so. I mean, 10 million is, a lot of money for someone like Ashley Phillips. So I don't know. I don't know if we'll get as high as 10 million, but what did we pay for him? Was it like 2 million or something?
3 million, I think.
3 million. So I think we'll make profit on that. But yeah, I think 10 million is...
Depends how good he does.
Yeah, that's also true.
So if he has another great loan spell, I think 10 million is not crazy, considering he's very young, and if he's doing very well, even at Championship level, at that age, I think a lot of clubs will take note of that. So if the announcement video, he said, "Stoke fans, you took my heart, and now I'm back again."
Yeah,
that's what he said. So look, good luck to him. I wish him the best. But I think Frank's clearly made his decision. Does this mean Vuskovic is definitely staying for the season?
Potentially. I mean, I don't know about definite, because even without Ashley Phillips, we're still oversubscribed in the centre-back area. Looking at Romero, Danso, Dragoshin, Van de Ven, Kota Takai, and Vuskovic. That's 6 centre-backs.
Davis still here as well.
So that's like 7 centre-backs.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So I don't think just because Phillips is leaving, it's certain that Vuskovic is going to stay. But we'll have to wait and see how the rest of pre-season goes. But it does feel like Vuskovic is at that level and he should be staying.
I know, based on that first 45, he's blown everyone away, and the hype is at maximum right now. So I think if you ask most Spurs fans if they would want him to be part of the first team for next season, I think most right now would be saying yes. Obviously, I agree. We'll see how the pre-season goes, and obviously we've got better teams to play, and that's going to be the bigger test than these ones. But I think he's made a fantastic start, hasn't he, Vuskovic? Yeah. It's so exciting.
But good luck to Ashley Phillips on his loan spell, second year at Stoke. I'm sure he's going to absolutely smash it. And yeah, look, I've always been a big fan of Ashley Phillips, and hopefully one day he can come back and show everyone what he's about at Spurs, seeing as he hasn't really had a chance to shine at Spurs. But I think Yeah, I think the writing could potentially be on the wall for him. Next up, we're going to talk about João Palhinha, as Mike McGrath says that Tottenham are working on a deal to sign João Palhinha. Sources believe there is a strong possibility that Spurs will be able to reach an agreement for Palhinha, but they might need to sell one of their existing players first, and Yves Bissouma is the most likely candidate to depart to make space for João Palhinha, which, makes total sense.
Yeah, definitely rumours seem to be hotting up on this one, which is really exciting because I think he's definitely a player who improves our options. He's definitely an upgrade for me on Bissouma. He's basically like a much more consistent version of Bissouma in terms of his defensive capabilities. You know, when Bissouma, when he's on his game and he's in full flight, he's an extremely good player, but it's consistency. But I think João Palhinha just gives you that consistency. He's so... every game he seems to be at his best, seems to be performing. Now, for one reason or another, it hasn't worked at Bayern, but I think he's a really good fit for Frank. I think Frank could do wonders with him. I know he's not, when you look at maybe the midfield options, he's not an elite player on the ball, but he's not bad. It's not like he's, I think he's better than Højbjerg, for example, on the ball. I think he's he's an upgrade on him. He immediately becomes our best defensive midfielder, and he adds that steel, that aggression in the middle of the park. And I think for like really tough away games against like big six opposition, a player like him is going to work wonders with our team. And you've got young midfielders who are going to learn off him. He brings leadership to the team as well, which I think another thing we're lacking. I think it's a really, really good signing if we can get this through the door. I think it's one we could. I think it's one we need. It brings elements to the squad, kind of attributes that we don't have, and I think it's a really, really good move. The question is, how do we fit obviously the other midfielders around him? Do we play him alongside like a Gibbs-White or in a double pivot or a Bergvall, or is it like do we play him alongside a Bentancur? It just gives us a lot of options. But I think he's definitely an upgrade in what we have in that position for me.
I'd love to see him alongside a Bergvall. Them two sitting in a double pivot, I think, would be absolutely brilliant. Very aggressive two in the midfield. And I think he can work alongside a lot of the midfielders that we have. And I think, look, I've said it many a time, I think it's a brilliant signing for us if we can get João Palhinha. Like you mentioned, a profile that we're desperately needing in the squad. I feel like it's... Like under Postecoglou, it would have been the perfect signing, wouldn't it, of him sitting in that six, being a complete destroyer. But now under Frank, I still think it can work, and I think it can work really well. It's just someone that adds a bit of steel and grit to the midfield players that we have at this current moment in time. And with Bissouma, Bentancur going into their final year, you're possibly looking at selling both of them and having him and Gray sharing that position. And what a player for Gray to learn off.
Yeah, phenomenal. And I was thinking we do need a deep line playmaker, which I do still feel like we need. And that's why maybe if it was a choice between him and Douglas Luiz, would I rather Douglas Luiz potentially? But I do also think if you get him in, you get that kind of ball recovery ability higher. You get that strength higher. And you do have players like Bergvall, like Gibbs-White, even Maddison, who can drop a bit deeper, who can maybe do that kind of role on the ball, whereas João Palhinha, you just leave him to the off-the-ball stuff and you allow him to just kind of keep it simple. I think a lot of people I think maybe because of how we played under Ange, like we needed a six who basically picks off of the centre-backs, who turns and who's very press-resistant and good at breaking lines and stuff like that. But because we're moving to a double pivot now and we're not having a lone six, the pressure's not only just going to be on that defensive midfielder to do all that work. You're going to get help from the other midfielders. You're going to have another midfielder dropping alongside Palhinha. So even if that midfielder at times is a Maddison or a Gibbs-White or a Bergvall who maybe could do that role a bit better than him, then it means that the kind of pressure on Palhinha to be this press-resistant, basically Rodri-like defensive midfielder isn't as much as it would have been if we had Ange. So I think it's actually better. I think Palhinha works more under Frank than it would have under Ange, in my opinion. I think it's a really good fit, and I think, I think it's a really exciting deal, potentially.
Yeah. No, I agree in terms of it being an exciting deal, and I think it seems like it's moving along now, doesn't it? It seems as though the rumours and the talk of Palhinha coming to Spurs and Spurs going in to make a bid are really heating up now, and I hope we can move this along quickly before the tour and hopefully get him in before they fly out, a week today, around about?
Yeah, and apparently Arsenal were looking at him before they signed Norgard, so they were quite interested, but they seem to have been pulled away from this deal now. You got to remember, a year ago, this guy was one of the most sought-after defensive midfielders in the whole of Europe. There was, Arsenal fans were getting very excited about signing him. Obviously, Bayern ended up getting him in the end. But I remember that there was talks of some of the best teams in England looking at him because of how good he was playing or how well he was playing. I don't know what's happened at Bayern. It's very odd why it's gone so wrong so quickly, especially after they literally waited a year to sign him as well. They tried so hard for 2 years basically to get him.
It was very much a club signing though, wasn't it? Because like they were very interested in when Tuchel was there,
yeah,
and then they went to get him when Company was there. So I mean, maybe he just didn't fit what Company wanted to do.
Yeah, that might be it. But you know, sometimes it's hard to put your finger on why exactly it hasn't worked out, and clearly they're ready to cut their losses with him. They want rid of him. But I think it could be that their loss could be someone else's gain. I don't think this is a player which isn't rubbish or has lost it or anything. This is a top quality player who I think would do fantastic at our club.
Completely agree. I think it's a top signing for Spurs and someone just we desperately need at this moment in time. Let's move on to the Gibbs-White situation, as John Percy says that Morgan Gibbs-White is now in Portugal with the Nottingham Forest squad for pre-season after flying out last night.
Yeah.
Not the greatest news to bring you, obviously. Yeah, I mean, what more is there to say? I mean, I still call me crazy again, but I still think this deal's going to go through.
Yeah, I think so. At the end of the day, while all these kind of legal issues are being sorted out, Gibbs-White doesn't really have an option but to keep it professional unless he wants to force a move. And a lot of fans I see are starting to get a bit frustrated with him because he's not forcing a move and he's not, you know, doing maybe what Isaac's doing right now in Newcastle, which is refusing to go on the tour and making his feelings known that he wants out. He's obviously keeping it professional and he wants to leave on Nottingham Forest on good terms. So I don't think fans have a right to be frustrated, because I think if we were Forest fans, we would want the same. We know how frustrating it can be when a player forces a move and leaves on bad terms and leaves a bad taste in your mouth. So I don't think you can be frustrated with Gibbs-White for acting in this way. I just think we have to be patient with this one. The worry is that I think the big fear is that we're patient with the deal and then it doesn't happen after, you know, and the legal stuff goes against Tottenham and we end up back in square one and we have to go for someone else. I think that's obviously
But has legal
concern.
proceedings even begun or even going to begin? Like, it's all gone quiet on that aspect. The last we heard of it, that Nottingham Forest haven't put that forward.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Clearly, this whole thing's on hold. I don't know if they've... Yeah, we've heard conflicting things. Some people say they have submitted an official legal complaint. Some say they haven't. If they haven't, I don't know what the hold-up is. Is it just the threat of legal action that's holding up the deal? Or is there an investigation going on? It's hard to say exactly what is going on behind the scenes. We still haven't heard any suggestion that this isn't going to happen or Forest are going to block the deal. But it has gone very quiet, and I think the delay is definitely frustrating. I think no news is not good news for fans, to be honest, because after you get that here we go and you basically get given the player, you think you've announced it and you think it's signed, to have this kind of lull and quiet period is very frustrating, especially when we don't know what's going on. But I think we just have to play the waiting game at the moment. It's frustration for all the fans. But are you frustrated with Gibbs-White for not forcing the move, for not putting pressure on Forest?
No, I'm not. I'm not frustrated with Gibbs-White at all. I think it's when you're looking at the Isaac and the Gibbs-White situation, they're very, very different. You know, Isaac has got a long contract at Newcastle and he's desperate to leave right now. Gibbs-White, what has he got? 1 more year left on his deal. So he knows.
2 years. 2 years.
Is it 2 years? 2 years or 1 year?
Yeah, I think 2 years.
2 years. But either way, it's running down, right? And the power for him gets more and more as time progresses. And I think Gibbs-White knows he's got that £60 million release clause as well. If he doesn't need to kick up a fuss, because he knows any team can come down and slap 60 million down and he's off. So obviously this is a bit of a different situation because of the way Spurs approached it at the beginning. And look, I genuinely believe this deal gets done as soon as Nottingham Forest get a replacement in. I said that last week and I still stand by that. And I think Forest are working on replacements to come in. We've heard rumours of, you know, Jedson Fernandez and Jacob Ramsey and players like that. And I feel like as soon as one of those deals gets, you know, progressed, I think the Gibbs-White thing will start to go forward as well.
Yeah, But look, and I understand everyone's frustration; they're not happy that it's not done. But let's just be patient. It's an unprecedented situation. I think it's all going to get cleared up and sorted out. And I think at the end of the day, Spurs will get their man. But unfortunately, this waiting game isn't fun, and it is the reality. I don't know if it's delaying any of our future business or anything like that. I would say probably the lack of sales is probably doing that more. But as much as it's not great news that he's gone back to Portugal and training with the team, he's just keeping it professional, and what more can you ask from him? So I just think we just got to wait it out and hope that it all happens in our favour down the line.
Yeah, I know like the situation's a bit different, but it's not exactly the first time we've seen a long, protracted, drawn-out saga that's going to last over a couple of weeks, you know? Look at Victor Gyökeres to Arsenal. I mean, that's been like basically over the line for like 3-4 weeks. And even still, we haven't seen an official announcement yet. And so I think like we've seen it with Gareth Bale at Tottenham. You know, how long was that drawn out for? Like, how many times have we seen this kind of thing without the actual thing about, you know, tapping up and everything like that? But this will get done. It's just about patience.
I guess the big worry is because it's such an unprecedented situation. As much as we think and hope this deal's going to happen, because this kind of thing is such a rare thing, you kind of don't know what's going to happen when it comes to whether this deal is going to go through, because I've never seen it before. It was very rare that legal proceedings or get threatened or issued against a club for activating a release clause in the manner that we've done. So it's hard to know what the end game looks like if Forest actually have a chance of stopping this deal or not, because we just haven't seen it before. So that's kind of the unknown is what's worrying, I think, a lot of fans.
Yeah. Which is understandable, to be fair. When you get the here we go 2 weeks ago, then it's understandable fans to get a bit frustrated with the situation and saying, why isn't Gibbs-White kicking up a fuss? Why isn't this? Why isn't that? But I do genuinely believe, let Forest do their business, let them get their targets in, and everything's going to move from there. Next up, we are going to talk about a Forest target in Jacob Ramsey, as Sebastian Vidal says Tottenham are seriously considering a move for Jacob Ramsey. Aston Villa midfielder is seen as dynamic, creative option valued at 50 million. So in terms of Jacob Ramsey, is this Spurs putting stuff out in the press to say, look, Villa, we're going to take your target if you don't move quickly and let us have Gibbs-White?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we've had a long-standing interest in Ramsey, so I'm sure he's probably on our list if Gibbs-White doesn't go through. So there probably is an interest, but I don't think it's going to be activated unless Gibbs-White does. So I don't think it's Tottenham putting anything out there. I think he's probably gone some info of Ramsey being on the list and he's reporting it, and I think it's probably true, but I don't think we go for him right now. I think Gibbs-White's on number one, and Ramsey's probably one of the backups on a list of backups.
There is a lot of interest in Jacob Ramsey this summer. Obviously, he had a very good season at Villa last year. I think he is probably going to be the one that ends up at Forest in terms of replacing Gibbs-White.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense. Villa, I don't know if they still need to sell, but there's reports that they do. Forest, obviously in Europe, want to bolster their squad, but it's whether Ramsey would want to go there. I think if I'm Ramsey, I'm rejecting that move. I'm staying at Villa because he's a pretty important player there. He would probably see it as a bigger club than Forest, so they're in Europa League, or I guess they're both in Europa League now. But I don't know if Ramsey would want to go, to be honest, unless Villa force him out. Yeah,
exactly. That's the thing. Like, if Villa are so if they're willing to accept the deal for Jacob Ramsey, then he might be sitting there thinking, well, I'm not really valued here, so let me go somewhere where I'm valued.
I think he would suit Villa, Forest. I think he would. I think he'd be a really good player for them, and I think in the Gibbs-White role, I think I'd really suit him.
Paul O'Keefe is reporting that Harvey Elliott is on the list of potential targets if Spurs can't get Gibbs-White. Obviously, very different player, Harvey Elliott and Gibbs-White. Harvey Elliott is kind of like at the beginning of his career, 22 years of age, been at Liverpool probably ever since, he's broken into the team there a good few years ago. Very good player with a lot of potential and a lot of talent, but I don't know. I don't know if we should, if we don't get Gibbs-White, I don't know if we should be going for Harvey Elliott. I think we need to be going for someone of the same stature of Gibbs-White.
Yeah, I agree with that, and in a perfect world, I would like to do that. Obviously, I think Harvey Elliott's a really good player. Every time I see him play for Liverpool, he seems to impress. He seems to have really good cameos, and obviously he's just had a great tournament for the under-21s. I think, did he get player of the tournament or one of the players? He was playing very, very well.
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, he got player of the tournament, didn't he? I've always been very impressed with him. I think in the number 10 role, he'd be a really good option for us. There's question marks about his, not attitude, but more his personality and whether he's a character in the dressing room that you want. I don't, maybe Liverpool fans can say more than I can. All I know is when he's a player who's up against you, he definitely is a player that you hate because he's always on the shithousery. He's always
That's usually a player that you want on your team, though,
yeah,
isn't
he's
it?
one of the players that probably if you play for you love him because he's doing all that wind-up stuff. So I think he's potentially going to be a phenomenal midfielder. And he's obviously had that horrible injury a few years ago, but he's recovered really well from it. And I think if he goes to a place where he's getting more game time and starting week in, week out, I think people will appreciate him a lot more because I think he's a real talent. I think he's ready to be a starter in the Premier League for a good team, in my opinion. I'm a big fan of Harvey Elliott. I wouldn't say no to him, to be honest. I don't think he's a bad option, but he's not at the level of someone like Gibbs-White right now or someone of that stature. And I think he's probably still kind of building up to that level at the moment. So you might have to wait a year or two for him to get to that level. But you're still getting a very good level from him. I think he's a signing who is a smart investment. But is he a signing that improves us immediately? Probably not. But I do think it's a smart investment if you get someone like him in.
Would be quite funny, though, because like the West Ham fans are convinced that Harvey Elliott's joining them this summer. It would be quite funny if we were to swoop in there and not only do we get Kudus, but then we get Harvey Elliott off their nose as well.
Might be worth it just for that.
Yeah, exactly. Next up, we're going to talk about Arnaud Calamwendo. Fabrice Hawkins from RMC says that Tottenham, Forest, Leipzig and Villarreal are all interested in Calamwendo. Other clubs could enter the race in the coming days. Rennes, who are already looking at replacements, will be able to agree a fee of 30 to 35 million euros to let go of Arnaud Calamwendo. Obviously, we've spoken about him a bit this summer already. I think this very much relies on Richarlison.
Yeah, and we spoke about him a while ago. Nothing really happened after. It seemed as though Tottenham were in talks, and then it seems as though nothing happened, or don't know if the talks ever existed. So now Fabrice Hawkins is a bit more reliable than the guy who reported it before. So that's quite interesting that they're now reporting it separately. Obviously, he's a guy who scored 17 league goals last season, up and coming striker in Ligue 1. I think when you're if you're going to spend either 35 million on him or you're going to spend 40 million on Wissa, you might. I think Wissa's obviously proven, but he's obviously 29. He's older. This guy's a lot younger. Maybe more scope to grow. Maybe a higher ceiling. So I think it's probably a smarter bit of business to sign him than it would be to sign Wissa in that sense. But as you say, Richarlison at the moment doesn't seem close to a move, albeit he was left out the friendly squad. Not really any serious links, but then again, the way we've been doing business so far this summer, like wasn't any talk about Phillips even going back to Stoke, and then bam, out of nowhere, he's agreed to in fact, they announced it. It wasn't even a rumour. They just announced Phillips has gone back to Stoke, and that's it. So maybe we're going to just get an announcement out of nowhere, or we're going to get a serious link, Richarlison on the verge of leaving, and that'll be that. So I think Tottenham will want to sell him. I think depending on who's interested, I think Richarlison probably would rather stay. So it's going to be interesting how we kind of navigate that deal. I also get the feeling that Frank might like him as well, and Frank isn't going to be desperate to sell him. But I think it's going to be more of a club decision to want to be open to him going. So we'll have to wait and see when he goes and how we can replace him. Because I think we know he's a good striker, but unfortunately, I think the way his Tottenham career has gone, I think it's probably time for him to leave. Yeah,
I agree with that. I mean, we've spoken about it so much over the summer already, and it's just the injury problems. If he didn't have those injury problems, I think we'd be completely fine to go into the season with Solanke and Richarlison as the two number 9s. But it's just one thing after another with Richarlison. Even now, he's saying that he needs to... it was worrying what Frank was saying about Richarlison, about why he wasn't involved last weekend. So even now he's trying to get him back to full fitness and stuff like that. So for me, you got to get rid of Richarlison now and bring in another striker. And if it is Calamwendo, if it is Wissa, I'll be more than happy with that.
I agree.
Let's talk about Sonny now. A lot of reports coming out about Sonny in the last few hours. Paul Tenorino from The Athletic says that LAFC is pushing hard to sign Son Heung-min this summer window, according to multiple sources briefed on talks. No major progress as of yet, but LAFC are trying hard to get the South Korean superstar for 2025 and beyond. Fabrizio Romano says that LAFC have approached Son Heung-min over a potential transfer for this summer. Talks at an early stage as LAFC want to try, but Son and Spurs will have the final say. Thomas Frank will also speak to Son and discuss future. Gary Jacobs says that Son Heung-min increasingly likely to leave Tottenham this summer. There is an offer from LAFC as well as renewed interest from Saudi. In 2023, Son Heung-min rejected a 4-year contract worth $25 million a year from Saudi Arabia's side Al Ittihad to stay at Tottenham. And Mike McGrath saying that Tottenham have received an offer from LAFC for Son Heung-min. Son's situation is unlikely to be resolved until after the tour, in large part because the key player calls in the summer trip to South Korea. And ITK Himothy says that Spurs want around £50 million to sell Son this summer.
50?
Yeah.
Oh, we ain't going to get that, are we? I wonder if... So we heard, I don't know if it was Timothy who said it, or someone said it, that Son felt disrespected or something, and that's led to him being a bit unhappy. I wonder if it's maybe Tottenham have told him, oh, we're open to offers for you this summer, and we're open to letting you go. And maybe that's maybe the feeling.
But the thing is, right, Tom Allnutt did say that Spurs have been trying to get him tied down to a contract for a while.
Uh-huh.
So it's got to work both ways, doesn't it? Like, it can't just be like, just because we're open to let you go. Obviously, we're going to be open to letting someone go that's going into the last year of his contract.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I just get the vibe from Son that, well, not necessarily, it was obviously the friendly, his body language and stuff like that wasn't great, but it's more just how he's been talking about his future.
It's everything together, isn't it?
Everything together just seems as though he's ready for a new challenge and he's ready to leave. Now, LAFC for me doesn't represent a place where he should be going. I think he should be going somewhere where he's still playing top level football. I don't think he's declined so bad that he has to be going to the MLS. I still think he can play in the Premier League. I still think he can play in Serie A, La Liga, or any of these top leagues. And I still think as well he could offer a lot under Frank if he was to stay. But I understand he's been here for a long time and he has won that trophy, and maybe kind of, we're embarking on a new project with Frank. And is it now, Frank even confirming that he doesn't know who the new captain's going to be, which increasingly as well suggests the lack of clarity over Son's future. So I wouldn't be surprised if, that he's open to a move, but I don't know, LAFC, is he really going to go to MLS now? I would just hope he would feel like he's not ready for the MLS. And the way he was talking, I remember on that YouTube channel when he was doing an interview saying, oh, he's got to work even harder to become world class and he hasn't hit that level yet. And that suggests to me he still feels like he's got a lot to give. But if he's open to a move to MLS, it'll just be a massive shame, because it just kind of, maybe he feels like he's winding down and he wants that move to see out his career. But I was just hoping he didn't feel like himself he's at that level yet, but maybe he does. But I would be sad if that's how he felt.
Yeah, it'll be a big disappointment if Sonny does go to MLS at this stage. Look, he is 33. He ain't getting any younger, which is the truth. But I've said it a number of times. I think if he was to stay here next season, I think we'd see a better version of Sonny than we saw last season in a Frank system. I think Frank would really be able to get the best out of him, managing his minutes as well. But look, we can't get away from the fact that he did struggle a lot with injuries last season. In the pre-season game now, it looked like, he was wincing quite a lot, holding his back quite a lot. Is his body ready to play another year in the Premier League? I mean, in a perfect world, I'd love to say yes, and I'd love to say, yeah, get Frank managing him over the course of the season and everything will be right. But we don't know what's going on behind the scenes with this injury, with these injury problems, and it seems to be one thing after another with Sonny at this moment in time. We just about got him on the pitch for the Europa League final. He was suffering with injury in the build-up to that, and obviously it was great for him and great for us to see him on the pitch there and lift that trophy. But that is a conversation that needs to be had about these injury problems, because I don't really remember over the course of his career having as many injury problems as he's having now.
Agreed, but I also think on the flip side, he was way too relied on last season. I think we all knew he should have been more rotated. And I think that was the plan for him, but unfortunately, because we had injuries in other places, he had to play a lot. And actually, he was doing okay for a bit, and then he got that injury against, I think, who was it, West Ham, potentially, or came back against West Ham. Anyway, there was a time he was playing quite a bit and doing all right, and then these injuries never stopped happening, and whenever he came back, he had to go straight back into the team. I think, I would like to think anyway, it would be a different scenario this season. I think Frank would manage him better. He wouldn't have to play every game. Obviously, we've got Tell now and all these different things, and hopefully if he can be managed, the injuries wouldn't be as much of an issue. But you're right, that when that starts happening, look, at the end of the day, the player himself knows himself the best, and if he can see himself really declining and he doesn't see himself able to keep up with the level, then he'll have to be honest with himself and say, look, maybe it is the best time to go to LA, and that's just where I'm at the moment. I just think it would be sad, and it would be a massive shame if that was the case and he felt like he couldn't even play in a top level anymore. That would be sad. But, I mean, we have to kind of get a grip with reality and what the signs are pointing to. And the signs definitely are pointing to him leaving, and maybe they're just keeping under wraps until after the Korea tour because of the contract that he has to play and all that kind of stuff. I think that is kind of what where the arrows are pointing, to be honest. I know we had a report not too long ago saying he's now open to staying and potentially want to stay till January, but if you just take the reports out of it and just look at the signs of what he says publicly, how he's looking, what Frank has said about it, all of those things together, regardless of what journalists are reporting, suggest he's leaving.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And journalist reports can cloud and spin and do whatever they want, but that's what the evidence is suggesting right now. So that is what maybe what might be happening.
Yeah, which will be, a very sad day when Sonny does leave the club. Look, I'll reaffirm it, and I fully believe that if Son was to stay around for next season, you would see a really good version of Son with his managed minutes and getting him into better areas on the pitch where he can make a real impact. But if he feels that this is the right time for him to go and he wants to go and make the move to MLS and go play with Hugo again, then, it is what it is. What can we do? He's given us such great years. He's been such a great servant for the club, and he leaves a legend.
If he does go, do we sign another left winger?
Yeah, I mean, those have been the reports, haven't it, that Spurs are still in the market for a left winger. So I assume that we're only in the market for a left winger because he's going to go.
Maybe there is some truth to Rodrigo.
Rodrigo, Leao, one of them.
Do we go for like a big name, do you think? If Son is to leave and we get, 20, 30 million or something for him, obviously that's also our highest, what's called the highest wage player, highest paid player off the books as well. Do we go for a blockbuster left winger? Do we go all out?
I'd hope so. I'd hope so.
Or do we say, Odebear back up to Tell and that's it?
I don't think that'd be good enough. Odebear and Tell on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
I think we would need someone, I don't want to say what age, but someone that kind of got a vast amount of experience.
Yeah, I wonder who it would be. I'm trying to. I don't think anyone in the Premier League.
Rafael Leao.
I mean, I'd love someone like Leao. I would love someone like Leao. That would be fantastic. I don't know how realistic that is.
Why not though? Because AC Milan are not even in Europe next season.
Yeah, it's true.
Why couldn't Leao be someone that is realistic for us? AC Milan not in Europe next season. He's on decent wages as well that we could afford. There's no reason why we should not be having someone like that in our sights.
I guess no one else is in for him, are they?
Yeah.
So if that's the case, maybe
I believe he's on 130 grand a week or something.
Is that what he's on?
Apparently, yeah.
Maybe we can. I mean, if we can put him on Sonny's wage, would he be, if he's up for that? Obviously, it would cost what, 60, 70, 80 million probably. There was a time they were talking about him being £100 million player, but he didn't have the best season, did he, last season?
Yeah.
So maybe his stock has fallen a bit. What was he, 27 now? 26, 27?
Is he that old? He's on 123,000 euros a week.
Yeah, he's not young anymore. He's I think he's like 20. I think he's like 27 now.
He's 26. Yeah.
26. Okay,
just turned 26.
Okay. Pretty
So
decent.
he's at a decent, really good age.
Prime is prime.
So, I mean, if Son's going to go, there is no reason why we shouldn't be going for someone like that. There really isn't. Like, they're a team not in Europe.
And it's time for him to leave as well. He's been there a long time.
Yeah.
As you say, but why haven't anyone serious gone in for him? It's also a question.
That is a massive question, to be fair. But, Milan is also a very big club. And Milan have been very up and down since he's been there. So it's kind of like a bit like the Spurs situation where, sometimes it looks like you're on a really good path and they take a few steps backwards and it's back onto like this really good path. So I don't know. And maybe in previous times his stock has been a lot higher, so it's taken a lot more money to get him out of there.
Yeah, he does seem a bit inconsistent though, doesn't he? That's also a bit of an issue. But definitely one to explore. But I think, if we are selling Son and getting a left winger in, that would be, as much as it's a shame to lose Son, and I don't want to lose him. It'd be very interesting to see who we go for. And
I've seen
the market.
I've seen a lot of people regarding Rafael Leao saying he's very lazy.
Frank won't like that.
Nah, that would be a big issue. But anyway, let's move on to the last bit of the update. And Daniel Marsh, the EFL correspondent for The Mirror, is claiming that Millwall are interested in a permanent deal for Alfie Devine, which is, if this does happen, it will be a big shame, because I believe, again, like we've got so many youngsters that I believe in, and he's one of them. Ashley Phillips is one of them. But if Devine goes on a permanent, surely there has to be a buyback clause in there.
Yeah, I would like to think so. Well, it feels like I want to put a buyback clause on any young player we sell.
Well, we should really. We should.
To be fair, that's what Madrid and City do, isn't it? They on all the players they sell, they do that. So we should be following suit. I like Devine, but I think at the end of the day, I was looking at him compared to Donnelly on the weekend, and Donnelly seemed ahead of him. He seemed to be the player who was more ready to step into the first team at the end. And now Devine has been out on loan for a few years. Not saying he's done badly, he hasn't. I think he's a good player, but I think I would be open to a permanent move for him this summer. I don't think I've seen anything from him to suggest he's ready for the Premier League or ready for Tottenham, and that he's going to be ready even within a year. I'm not sure what his best position is. I think there's clearly a talent there, and I think he's going to be a Premier League player. But at the end of the day, we've got so much talent at the moment. You got to be a bit ruthless, and I think if we can get a bit of money for Devine, it does make sense, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because I do think he's got a lot of ability, and I remember last year's pre-season, I thought he was absolutely brilliant in the first couple of games when he played, and it would be a shame to see him go to Millwall. I would like to see him maybe go to Millwall on loan, just one more loan spell in the Championship and see how he does. And if he doesn't, come back and demand a spot in the first team squad for the season after, then maybe sell him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. But at the end of the day, he is 20 now.
Yeah.
So he's had 3 loan spells. He's been on loan a lot. If he feels himself, a bit like Keeley, if he feels there's not a pathway for me, then it's better to start getting my career going rather than go on loan again. Obviously, Phillips has decided to go on loan again, so could take that path, and I think they're the same age, so you could look at it that way. But yeah, I think he's a good player, but I don't know if he's ready yet for the Premier League, and that's the problem.
Well, that is your Tottenham update for today. Actually, there was one more thing that AC Milan got the here we go on David Hanko yesterday.
You mean Atletico Madrid?
Atletico Madrid, yeah. A centre-back. They signed a centre-back yesterday.
Yeah, interesting, very interesting.
So what do you reckon? Does that mean the Romero deal is dead in the waters for this summer?
Maybe. I mean, you can't say it doesn't. It's very interesting. They've decided to go with that. Obviously, he's a left-sided centre-back because I know he's left-footed.
He can play left-back and left
can play left-back as well.
Yeah.
So whether they're looking for someone on top of that as well, I don't know. But have they truly moved on? Have we heard the last of the Romero deal, or are they looking for another centre back? I think it's definitely not a bad thing.
Yeah, look, the first thing I thought when I looked at it, I was like, that's it. We got Romero for at least another year, but we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But look, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories that we've spoken about today. Let's get into a couple of super chats before we do move on. And I don't know which ones are from today and which are not. So we'll go from the top. Crazy Rat saying, "Where is Brian Bagel?
Oh,
where is he? Where is he? Who knows where he is? Everyone put a search warrant out for Mr. Brian Bagel." Malware says, "All due respect, Son is a legend. I think it's his time to move on. We need to make way for the new era of players. Frank era will still kick on." And talking about eras, right? If Son is to go this summer, Ben Davies will be the last player remaining from the Champions League final. How mad is that?
Yeah, all the players have moved on.
How mad is it that Pochettino's first signing is the last player to remain?
When was the last time anything like that happened at any club? Which is mad. But yeah, and Davis also likely could be leaving this summer as well, and that'll be none left. And we wanted that painful rebuild. It's taken us 7 years?
Yeah, only 7 years.
7-8 years.
And we're still not fully done yet.
No. Yeah, as hard as it is, I do want Son to stay, and I do think Son is still capable of putting big numbers up and being a very good member of the team. But look, the reality is he's been here 10 years. He has won that trophy. It could be time. That's just it. Not because he's not good enough, just because it's time for a new challenge.
Yeah, which is sad.
Yeah,
to be honest, it is sad.
I don't want to say bye. I don't know if I'm ready for it, but once you've got that trophy and he's been looking for it for so long, does he have that extra bit of hunger again to go again?
Well, if he's willing to go to MLS,
that's the thing. Yeah, that's true. Then maybe he's lost that hunger if he's going MLS.
Espen Anderson says, "Geez, we are falling so far behind."
He's talking about the transfer window.
Do you feel that we're falling far behind at this moment in time?
I think we've fallen way behind ages ago.
Yeah, I'm talking about this transfer window.
You know what I mean? And it's not...
When you're looking at the business everyone else is doing this summer.
Do I think we're falling further behind the top four? Yes. Do I think we're in a position... We've put ourselves in a position where we can very seriously compete for that top five, if we get Gibbs-White, that is? Yes. And is our target... I know some people are. I was watching, was it last one on Spurs? He was talking to Mike McGrath. He says, "Yeah, if Spurs get 10th, that's progression, a good season." I'm sorry. I know we finished 17th, but I don't think 10th is a good finish.
Fifth is there for anyone who really wants it.
Especially if Newcastle
exactly. Newcastle losing Isaac. Aston Villa, we can easily catch Aston Villa.
I think so.
I think easily. So I think if Spurs make the right signings this summer, if more Gibbs-White comes in alongside a few others, there is no reason why we can't finish in fifth next season.
All the Bournemouth, Brentford, Brighton, all getting stripped of their talent or of their better good talent. Yes, they might replace them with good players, but are they going to be as ready-made? I find it hard to believe they're going to be as good next season as they are last season. So yes, is there a good chance we're not going to get much closer to that top four? I mean, we'll have to, obviously, because if we're finishing 17th, we're going to have to be closer to the top four than we were last season. But are we going to seriously compete for that top four and be in that race? Probably not.
I think it's unrealistic to suggest that we can. That's unrealistic.
That'll be extremely impressive. But that top five, I'm sorry, I know people think I'm crazy because we finished 17th to think we could compete for that top five, but I don't see why not. I really don't see why not. I look at the squads compared to us, Newcastle, Villa. We did finish fifth not so long ago. Comparing our squads to Villa and Newcastle, I really don't see a big gap. And for me, I know if you just look at league positions, you'll think I'm crazy. But if you just look at the quality of the squads, and as long as we don't have another bloody 12-man injury crisis and Romero and Van der Ven out for 4 months at a time, as long as that doesn't happen, which I'm confident it won't happen again next season, then I really think there's no reason we can't be in that top five conversation. I'm not saying we're a shoo-in or we have to be getting there to have a good season. I'm just saying, I'm looking at fifth and saying that is not a completely unrealistic target. I think it's gettable.
I think fifth is probably our ceiling next season.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I don't see it as like that's completely unattainable. Yeah. And whereas people say, "Oh yeah, Tottenham get top 10 and that's good progression, that's a good season," like no, we should be aiming higher than that. We should be aiming higher than that.
A super chat here from Malware saying, "How strong is the Frank pull?" Isaac, anyone?
Get Isaac, Decky, and Bergvall in a room. And Frank, and it will happen. It's guaranteed. And
don't let him out until he says yes.
Exactly.
Although he wants 300 grand a week, so.
Well, if Son goes, we've got money to. We've surely got some wages to splash.
Let's talk about our next topic. It's Tottenham chairman Daniel Levy is set to be given the freedom of the City of London. The freedom of the City of London is awarded to individuals as a way of paying tribute to their outstanding contribution to London or public life, or to celebrate a very significant achievement. And what better person to speak to about Daniel Levy being given the freedom of the City of London than Mr. Brian Daigle. Let's bring him on.
Dear. How are we doing? Everyone in the chat and you two brothers?
Yeah, all good, my friend.
Well,
all good. Good to see you here on such a monumental moment.
It's a proud day for Tottenham.
Well, maybe not for Tottenham.
Oh, mate, all I can say is I've seen people do this on TikToks and whatever, and it's a trend, so I'm going to use my one now. Can I play my reverse card to have a London free of Levy? I'm using my reverse card now. Well, what's there to say about it? Honestly, nothing surprises me with this football club. What goes on? It's an achievement he's got. I think there's probably a lot more people in London worthy.
What is the achievement they're talking about? Is it the stadium winning the trophy? What is the?
It's nothing to do with the trophy. I can tell you that. It's nothing to do with football. It's completely nothing to do with football.
So you think if we didn't win that Europa League, he still gets his freedom in the City now?
Yeah, for sure.
At this point,
yeah, I think he would have.
Is the timing not curious? So maybe they're waiting for him to win a trophy so that it's.
I don't think so. It's a way.
As bad.
They award this to individuals as a way of paying tribute to their outstanding contribution to London. That's what he's got it for the stadium, for the amount of jobs he's opened up, for charitable causes as well around with the Tottenham Community Foundation.
But this can be football related because Klopp got it for Liverpool because he did well at Liverpool, like as a club. That's like doing well, right? On the footballing side, is obviously going to bring more stuff to London, so it's seen as an achievement. So I feel like the timing of it must be because it's just after we won the trophy. That's why I'm not saying he's good just for that. I'm just saying that plus all the other stuff has now entered him into this echelon for whoever's making these decisions to nominate him and saying, okay, this guy is a nominee now for.
Well, if we're still playing at White Hart Lane and we win this trophy, I don't think he gets it.
Okay, but I'm just saying I don't think the trophy is irrelevant to this decision. At the timing, I think it's probably because we just won this trophy is why he's getting it. And timing.
Well, one thing I will say, the charitable things Tottenham do, and obviously he's a big part of whatever goes on with this football club, whether it's on the field, off the field, property-wise, whatever, commercial-wise. Tottenham Hotspur do a lot of great stuff for charity, and that does need to be commended. That does be commended, whether it be for when they do the things for knife crimes, with the food bank, with other things they've done, with a lot of other football clubs do this as well, obviously. But Tottenham have done a lot of things, like I said, with the Tottenham Foundation and everything. They do a lot of good. They do it. There's no getting away from that. Could it be because of the jobs he's got? Obviously, you'd think he'd get the freedom of Tottenham or something first, wouldn't he? But I'm sure the whole of London are delighted.
The freedom of Tottenham. He can't even walk down Tottenham High Road.
Exactly. He's got. I've said it again. When it comes to building that stadium, the training ground, and all other things, he's done wonderful things at Tottenham. But it's not materialised on the football pitch. So for charitable jobs and everything like that, maybe there is something in that they've looked upon. But it's like Ben said, it's got absolutely nothing to do football-wise. Nothing to do football-wise. But I wonder if he gets a plaque or anything. It will go next to the Bill Nicholson gates.
Yeah, probably.
Those historic things that we have.
Yeah, I mean, look, we've all spoken about Levy so much, and well, pretty much since Brian's been on the.
Have I?
We all speak about him a lot, right? And we all have our own opinions and whatever. But when you look at just that side of the football club, the money side, the investment side, the everything to do with that, he's done a phenomenal job getting us to where we are in terms of everything apart from football. So I think this is why he's got this achievement.
Yeah, like I said, I can say from obviously living abroad, and I can speak for what I see in Toronto, the commercial growth of this football club and the reach of the football club is a hell of a lot bigger than it was before he took over. There's no getting away from that. There is absolutely, and for that he deserves praise. But like we've all said, it's about the football, isn't it? We're all here because of the football. But the reach Tottenham Hotspur now have because of him, and he is far greater than it was. The money coming in is greater than it ever was, but again, it's not on the football. So there are good things that he needs to be given praise for, but on the footballing side, I'm still a hard pass.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
So, if he's given the freedom of the city, Brian, is London? Are you going to come back to London anytime soon? Are you refusing to step foot in London?
I'm going to come back and
until,
party. I'm going to celebrate like it's 1999, as that song goes. Yeah, it's an auspicious occasion which I need to get back for and be a part of and soak it in.
But as you said, you refused to go back into the stadium until, what was it? Until Levy was gone.
Until there's significant change and investment in that football pitch. Put it this way, like I've said to Ben, I'm sure I said it to you as well, Simon. If got Thomas Franklin, my guy, if once Morgan Gibbs-White, and he will become a Spurs player, I'm still standing by it. If the investment comes in and if we start buying some big quality players, then I'll have to revisit that. I still won't buy anything in the stadium. I still won't buy anything in the club shop. But we'll have the manager I wanted, the player I wanted. But that's still up in the air for me. That's still. I'm certainly not changing my mind now. He's got the freedom of London. I'm not going, yes, that's what I've been waiting for. Now I can come back in. No.
Freedom of London. You'll never sing that.
Are you boycotting London now? He's got the
don't
freedom
start
of
that,
London.
Ben, because it'll catch on. It'll catch on, don't.
But
no,
are you boycotting London now? He's got the freedom of London, or not?
No, I might protest the whole of London. I might just pop up in different parts of London and say we want Levy out in all different parts of London. The protest can go city-wise now.
We got to do an ENIC out protest outside the House of Parliament or something.
That's just do it somewhere. Just pick a random place.
All four corners of London are going to have ENIC out protests now.
Let's just go to Muswell Hill or Hampstead and just start one. Let's just start random places. I might just spring up.
Do you think outside of football he deserves this award?
Yeah, that's what we've been saying. I think he does.
You were saying you understand why he's getting it. Do you think he deserves it?
I think so. I think he's done a great thing here in terms of the stadium, the training ground, infrastructure around Tottenham, his charitable causes with the Tottenham Hotspur Foundation. I think everything outside of football, I think he's done a great job at.
Yeah, I mean, the things that have happened, obviously, a lot of it, we've got big debts that we need to cover and everything, and season ticket, all the other things. But like I said, the charitable, I can't not praise the club for how they deal with things for charitable things. The stadium, like I said, I've been there a good few times now. Not for a while, obviously, but the place is an architectural masterpiece. It is an absolute stunning stadium. It's a work of art. The training ground, again, is the best of the best, and the forefront that everyone tries to.
No expense spared, Brian. No expense spared.
When it comes to off the field things, no expense spared. When it comes to on the field, yeah.
Because you've got to look at the amount of jobs that he's created just on Tottenham High Road in itself. You know, the hotel is going to command a lot of staff, the stadium, the events, everything like that. I mean, he has opened up a lot of jobs.
Oh, 100% he has. 100% he has, and it is Tottenham is becoming what's the word I'm trying to use here? Obviously, the state that Tottenham was in, or the High Road and everything, and what was there before he came, and now you look at it, it's night and day, isn't it?
Yeah.
My mum was born in Tottenham. She was born in Bruce Grove and lived there for a big chunk of her life. And when she's walked down there with me, she's like, "Oh my God, this is nothing like it used to be." Obviously, that's a long time ago. But there are things he's done that has improved Tottenham immensely. It's just not been on the one thing that we all want.
Yeah, 100%.
If the reports of investment are true and all these things do come to light, and we do start to spend a bit more money, if that does come to be true this summer, and we hear about it, of into like aficionado or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
then does change for Spurs and that kind of stuff, would that still exist next season?
It depends, doesn't it? Depends. Put it this way: if it comes in during the season or during the window, sorry, and we get to spend or use it, then who knows with the players and quality we've got in, and who knows what Levy's role is. If the window doesn't end up as a successful one and is another one that started with so much promise and belief and then ends with a whimper, and the investment is there after, then you're like, well, what was that all about? Then it very well could be. Obviously, I can't speak on behalf of changes for Tottenham,
Yeah.
but whatever change for Tottenham do, I will always support, promote, and be there if I can, for as long as it takes.
Yeah, look, if we're talking about significant investment and Spurs are going to act like they have got significant investment and keep bringing in players of the likes of Kudus and Morgan Gibbs-White and players like that, then I think there won't be too much to complain about.
Exactly.
That's the reality. So that's what we all wanted. And if
Correct.
that happens, then there won't be many protests, I believe. But they got to put their money where their mouth is, and they got to show it first before the noise quietens down.
Exactly, and you look at it, what is it now? 38 days left of the window.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever they're doing, they're not just coming in, coming out. They are going to have to get a wriggle on now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Because teams are going to want to get their teams together and ready for the first team and prepared. And that means the outgoings as well. That really does mean the outgoings. But the lack of activity, it could be all under the radar. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe we're waiting for a domino to fall. Is that domino Morgan Gibbs-White? Who knows? But remember when we said, let's wait till July? Well, we're entering August. And yes, Takai and Kudus has come in, and Gibbs-White would have been here if there hadn't been the hold-up that's going on. But there's still other areas that need addressing. And going into August, I think, as well, I don't know how you boys feel and the people in the chat, if we go for another Premier League player or any player that's a first-team player of a top 5 league, as soon as they start kicking the ball in the season, surely their price goes up, because now you're losing them once the season starts, and then they've got to find a replacement, and they're running out of time. So we really need to start doing something, I feel.
Yeah, and the biggest problem with that as well is, like, we fly out to the tour next week.
Yeah.
I think early next week as well. So there's less than a week to go. And historically, we don't do business while we're on tour and while we're in the Far East or America or whatever. So that delays it by another, week or week and a half, however long it goes on. And then suddenly you're a week or two away from the season starting. So not too much time before the season actually starts now.
Well, historically, we don't activate release clauses either.
True.
Well, the thing is as well is, if things are, let's just say the investment is it coming in and it's not that far away, or they are just crossing the T's, whichever way you want to look at it. Maybe if we are active whilst we're on tour, there's another indication that things might be changing. Who knows? I mean, again, we're in limbo, aren't we? And we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But it is getting concerning the more and more the days go by, and the teams that we want to compete with are seriously strengthening.
What are you looking at from now until the end of the window? How many more signings do you want?
I'd want 3 or 4, and that's including Morgan Gibbs-White. That's including. Yeah. So I think we're Morgan Gibbs-White. I think we need the midfielder. I think we're the number 6 or whatever you want to do. I think we need. Well, actually, that might have to go up, because if Sonny is going, then we need a left winger, left back, and a striker.
Left winger, left back, striker,
midfielder,
Gibbs-White,
and a midfielder. But if we get Gibbs-White, one of those positions, I mean, we've got to be realistic. I can't see Spurs getting 4 or 5 players in. I think once Gibbs-White is through the door, maybe the midfield isn't the main necessity, depending on outgoings. This is us just talking ingoings, isn't it? So
we're like Gibbs-White, Palhinha,
like Simeon and I was saying yesterday, I think that one drags on till nearer the end of the window.
Potentially.
I think if that goes on. But I have to say, with this Morgan Gibbs-White, people are going nuts all of a sudden. I don't know why we've got to this now, that if a player goes on pre-season tour, that's it. Apparently, they're signing a lifetime contract. Portugal is as far away as Neptune, and it's off. People like Wissa have come back from Portugal to get things done. They're still fighting. Yes, it's frustrating. Yes, it's annoying. Yes, the lack of sound. Or actually, the noise. The way I've dealt with this the last few days is I only listen to Ornstein. That's it. If he ain't spoken, everything else is hot air.
It's not. I don't think it's so much that he's joined the team in Portugal. It's so much that we had a Here We Go 2 weeks ago, and we're sitting here 2 weeks on from that, and he's joining up with Forest for pre-season, and we just have no clue what the hell is going on. That's what the frustrating thing is.
Yeah, but I still think it's 100% on. There are people that think it's 100% off or move on. I'm just, I will double down or triple down that he'll be a Spurs player before the end of the window.
Yeah, I think so as well.
It's just the noise. It's just so much noise going on about it. And it's different stories from different people. Then they all corroborate, and then they start just rewording what everyone else is saying. I have been like, it's Ornstein or nothing for me. Ornstein, Tottenham or Forest come out and use it. It's legit. Anyone else, I'm not paying any attention.
What do you think of potentially Devine leaving permanently to Millwall? That was the latest rumour coming out today. Obviously, we saw in the friendly on Saturday that he kind of started. Donnelly played second half. If we were to, how much of a blow would it be for you to lose?
Oh, it'd be heartbreaking. Honestly, Alfie Devine leaving this football club will be heartbreaking for me. Absolutely heartbreaking. He's a player of immense talent at his age. And we've got to remember, he's been at the club a while. He's only 20 years old. He turns 21 next week.
He was here under Mourinho.
Yeah, he was here under Mourinho. He scored. He was the youngest player to play for Spurs in that FA Cup game against Marine. Yeah. Or the youngest goal scorer, should I say. I don't know if it was the youngest player, but definitely the youngest goal scorer. I've said before, I think he needs a championship loan. Go out there, play regular first team minutes, and then Spurs evaluate it. But if Spurs sell him, I will be heartbroken. He will go on to do great things. Hopefully there'll be a buyback clause, and Spurs will activate it, and he'll be back bigger, better, bigger, bolder, and better. But it will be a very sad day for me because I think he's a player of immense talent.
Yeah, I think so as well. And obviously Ashley Phillips has gone back out on loan. Do you think maybe we've seen the last of him with Vuskovic now here, and he's clearly someone who everyone's very excited about? Do you think we'll see Phillips back at Tottenham?
I really hope so. I really hope so. I think I thought he'd had enough championship loans, and Stoke are delighted, obviously, because they absolutely love him. And again, he will get regular minutes. We're going to have to see what happens at the end of the season, but I would hope he would stay because I think he's a future England international. I think he's that good. I think he will really become a top draw defender. But Spurs will do what Spurs will do. And again, I've said all season, whatever Thomas Frank decides to do, I'm going to support it. I'm going to be with it. So if he decides that Phillips needs to go, then who am I to say anything?
Yeah, that puts you. Who are you going to be in, Camp Devine or Camp Frank?
I'm still right. Listen, I'll always be in Camp Frank. But if he goes, listen, you look at it, and what you got to look at this as well is with Josh Keeley. Maybe Spurs do want to keep him, but he's had enough now, and he wants regular first team football, and I can't really blame him if he does, because he's been, like we said, he just hasn't been able to force his way through or been given assurances on his future. So maybe he, like Josh Keeley, is saying, do you know what, I want first team regular football. I just hope, like I said, we put a buyback clause, but it will be a sad day for me, but I'm always going to be Team Frank. First line of defence, second in command, and apparently fart sniffing on location alone behind Ben. I would wish Devine well, and he will do very, very well wherever he goes.
If I gave you the option to choose between Donnelly and Devine, who would you pick?
Listen, it's very. If you had me and Sean Slater here, obviously you know where we'd be. I will. When it comes to youngsters, it's very, very biased and hard for me to. I will always say Alfie Devine.
Really, ahead of Donnelly.
Who I think's got the more talent, and listen, I've stuck my neck out so much for him. I won't back down with this. I think he'll go. I think he'll go to Millwall or whoever it may be if Millwall goes through. and he will do very, very well in the Championship. And a lot of people will see what I've seen for years, or been saying for years, shall I say. And then he'll tear the Championship up.
I'm just seeing a report on Sky Sports. Apparently, Worcester to Newcastle nearing conclusion for 35 million.
Well, he's their Isaac replacement. You can't get. Well, that's a bit of a downgrade, isn't it?
That's right. We were going to put 120 million pound bid in out of nowhere during the tour to show that there's movement from in the board level. Isaac, we were having this discussion when I was on Ben's show just there on the Coffee Company. I love Isaac, and we were asking our viewers, and it was a mixed bag for Tottenham right now. Now let's just step into the land of delirious, and we can get anyone. If Tottenham could right now, either of these come, there's obviously this isn't happening. This is just a game. Right now, if Isaac or Haaland would sign for Spurs right now, and you could pick, you had the final decision. Who are you boys picking? For me, it's Isaac
or Haaland.
Yep, and both of them have agreed fees, terms, and they're going to come to. Obviously, this is just a game of complete batshit bonkers. But if one of those two could walk into Tottenham right now, who would you have? And for me, it's Isaac. I think he offers a bit more off the ball, away from the goals than just outright goals. And for me, Haaland is just outright goals.
But when you're talking about a striker, number 9, crosses in the box, getting it on the end of those... We can't cross the box.
We got one that crosses the ball.
Well, we do under Frank now. Frank's going to get them crossing.
Hopefully. But I
Pedro Porro.
The man.
Pedro Porro and Erling Haaland is a recipe for success, man.
So would be, mate. Isaac is just... Isaac, I think, just offers more than just goals. Sim, who would you have?
I prefer Isaac.
There we go.
I think I'd go for Haaland.
I think I'd go for Isaac.
You'd go for Haaland?
I think I'd go for Haaland, yeah.
See, I wonder what... I can see there's a few people commenting on the...
I think Isaac... I agree. Isaac offers you more all-round, for sure. I do agree with that. But I think Haaland will guarantee us, 25 min goals a season.
I think Isaac guarantees you goals as well.
I think Haaland probably guarantees you more goals. But I think Isaac... has more weapons.
Who are you more excited watching, Ben?
Isaac.
Isaac can do things. Isaac can do things by himself.
Yeah, of course.
Haaland can't. Haaland needs the service.
Yeah.
But then again, the thing is with Haaland, if you give him the service, he's almost guaranteed to score. Whereas Isaac isn't as much as a bully as Haaland. So
definitely not that.
If you put a cross in the box, Haaland's so much harder to stop than Isaac. But if you give the ball to Isaac's feet, he can dribble at you and score from outside the box and do tight finishes. Whereas Haaland, you give him the ball, he's not going to do much. You have to kind of give it to him through on goal or cross the ball into him.
Yeah, which we'll be looking to do under Frank, in my opinion. So I think he'd be a really good fit.
Well, people that have just tuned in, we're not actually thinking that this is actually happening. This is just a...
Who are we signing? Tell what's called a Haaland or
clip it right now. Who are we signing? You can sign one of these, and they're both definitely going to come, Isaac or Haaland. But you say that, Ben. Remember Isaac's header against the filth this year, from that great cross from Trippier, where you put the ball in the box. Powerful wise, it's no competition. It's no competition.
Live interview on Sky Sports about
Matisse. Yeah, you say that, Brian, but I mean, you can probably list about 30 or 40 of Haaland goals like that. How many Isaac goals can
you're right. But for power and for that you're definitely right. It's Haaland. I just love Isaac. I just love it. Isaac.
So do I. I think he's an unbelievable football player, and I think we'd be lucky to have either of them. We ain't getting any of them. So,
could you imagine? I mean,
nonsense conversation.
You know, there is going to be an ITK that says we're in for him.
Yeah.
You know, there will be a rumour that he's in for us. But yeah, going back to Spurs. What else were you talking about? Obviously, Morgan Gibbs-White spoken. Divine, please don't go, but we'll see.
We were speaking about if Sonny was to go, who would you want on the left wing? What signing? And I was bringing up, I don't know if you heard, I was talking about why can't Spurs look to bring in a Rafael Leao?
We had this chat as well, because when we did the update, wasn't it? His wages weren't when we're checking his wages were like 132,000 euros.
Wages aren't high. AC Milan not in Europe next season. Like, why can't we go for someone like Rafael Leao?
There's him. Do you know what? If Liverpool were looking to sell, I would take Diaz.
He's going to Bayern Munich, apparently.
Apparently, but I mean, obviously, Diaz again is an absolute not a chance because of his wages, whatever.
He ain't asking to leave to come to Tottenham. I can assure you that, Brian.
Yeah. Mate, could we go back for Eze again? Who knows?
Eze, yeah, true. Eze hasn't. Nothing's happened with him, has it?
Nothing's happened with Eze. Could it be? But I think LA just fits for Sonny, doesn't it?
Say that again, Brian.
Sorry, Brian. We just lost you there for a second.
I think Los Angeles is the perfect fit for Sonny.
Why though? Do you not think he's better than that right now?
I think he's better. I'm saying if that's where he wants to go and play out his football, fair play. Obviously, there's Hugo there with him. It's the biggest South Korean population in the world outside of Korea, so he's gonna feel very, very at home, and he'll have tremendous support there. He'll be not as big as Messi, but he'll be a franchise player. If that's where he wants to go, then that's where he goes. I think he's still capable of doing it in the Premier League. But it's not going away, is it? In fact, these rumours are just getting stronger and stronger. And if he chooses LA and America, then
so be it. Good for him.
Exactly. And there's just away from football, there's just a lot of things that go for him being there.
Yeah, true.
When you're going through proper established left wingers, there's not like a ton of players who we think maybe are gettable. Really, I mean, you got Leao up there.
Tajon Buchanan.
Don't start with Tajon Buchanan again.
Let's go get Tajon back. Mate, he's had a very, very good season out on loan at where did he go? He was in La Liga. And for Canada, he's been on absolute. I mean, obviously, he's been on absolute flames since he's come back from his broken leg. If Spurs pulled it out of the bag and just went for a random bid for Tajon, I'd be absolutely over the moon.
To get him to replace Sonny, that would just be.
That's a huge. It would need to be. Don't get me wrong. It would need to be a huge player or a very. That's the thing. It would need to be a quality player, an absolute quality player, to replace that. It would need to be an elite player or a very, very high caliber of player to replace him. We'll just have to wait and see. We'll see what this window holds. But if the window remains as inactive and as uninspiring as it is right now, 7:01 UK time, PM, 1st September, I have a summer's anger and pressure to release, and I will be
release the hounds.
Yeah, basically that's the cleaner way of saying what I was about to say. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Big up to you, Brian. Thanks for coming on today. Brothers. Everyone, do go subscribe to Tottenham on Tour. What's the subscribe account on now?
Mate, we are flying at the moment. At the moment, we are now. If Ben Kaufman's in the chat, we'll be able to give you the exact figure. We are on 9,550 something.
So it just needs 500 of you guys. Under 500 of you.
Mate, 450. We'll get it next week. We're aiming for it before the season starts.
How many subscribers do you get the freedom of the city, Brian?
Well, I don't know if it'd be the freedom of Toronto or either way. Well, if I got the freedom of London, then me and him can have a duel.
You get the freedom of London, you'll get anointed at the same time. Brian Daigle and Daniel Levy side by side.
Surely you should be getting the keys to the Scotland Yard. Surely.
I've got them, mate. I've got them. That's an assurance. I've got them.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, big up to you, Brian.
Big up, boys.
We'll see you very, very soon.
You certainly will.
Have a good rest of your day, my friend.
And yourself, brothers, and everyone in the chat. Have a great day, whatever you're doing. Laters.
Big up. Big up. But yeah, that is all from us today. We'll see you all again tomorrow, where it's actually a bit of a crazy weekend, isn't it? Crazy weekend. Yeah. 2 Spurs games on Saturday. It's going to be make predicted lineup and all that. Just a bit of a
Yeah, I don't know how we're
God,
going to do
minefield. It's just like, what the hell? How is anyone supposed to predict that? But 2 watch-alongs on Saturday.
Double watch.
One at 11 o'clock, one at 3 o'clock. 2 pre-match pump-ups I'm hearing as well. So, look, we'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.